Welcome back everyone to my Let's Play of Final Fantasy II on the Wii Virtual Console. Last episode, our ratty heroes managed to get the final Dark Crystal. However, when they were escaping the sealed cavern where the crystal was, Golbez reappeared and he brainwashed Jarvis into leaving with the Dark Crystal. Jarvis returned to Golbez's side, gave him the final Dark Crystal, and with the 4 light crystals, 4 dark crystals, Golbez reactivated the Tower of Babel. Can't get in there anymore. It's like surrounded by like a glowing light. And I guess that might be the energy that it's using to open the pathway to the moon. So we're kind of stuck here. Georgie has an idea though. She's like, hey, maybe we can go to the Land of Summoned Monsters. Maybe they can help us out. The Land of Summoned Monsters is where Georgie was taken after Leviathan attacked the ship so long ago, back when Rupes was trying to rescue Lily and Baron and find Sid, the chief engineer. So, Georgie's like, let's head there. But before we head there, we're going to head over to this 3-step peninsula. It's just a peninsula that's only 3 steps because this is a strange area. It's a new monster encounter area. We gotta find some new monsters in the underworld. The monsters, though, everywhere else that was accessible by the airship, the area by the Sylvan Cave, the area in front of the Land of Some Monsters, area by Kogel's Smithery, and then also by the Sealed Cave. All those monster areas are the same, but this one, for some reason, this three steps have unique monsters in them, including these gloom rings and the crawlers there. The crawlers will actually find them on the moon. So, yeah, we got moon enemies here. We'll find weaker versions of the gloom ring and the crawlers in the other enemy areas, but we'll go to them after we find all the monsters here in this area. So, Trappers is also on the other monster areas, so we can run into them anywhere else, but we'll find them here as well. So, right now I have Nell equipped with the Ice Claw, because there's a lot of monsters here. There's a lot of egg monsters that will appear, and those egg monsters can either hatch into the dragons, the green and yellow dragons. Those rare monsters that we were lucky to find in the Tower of Babel and the Sealed Cave. But most of the time the eggs are going to be black lizards, and those are weak to ice, so they'll be able to finish them off before they even hatch. So it just speeds up all the fights around here. Because, like I said, these are all pretty much rare monsters, so it's going to take a while to find all the monsters that we're looking for over on this little piece of land. So, a lot of the monsters are weak to ice, like I said, even the ones that we're not hunting, like these stone men. And one of the monsters we are trying to find, the Tarantula lady, she is weak to ice and weak to arrows, so Lily can do a lot of good damage if she equips some ice arrows. But I'm just trying to get rid of the fire arrows that we have here, so because most of these monsters ain't too tough. Not really have to do much to no tricks really to finish them off. These Gorgons, they can be charmed by Georgie's Charm Rod, so that can help a little bit. But all the other monsters don't really have to worry about using any status effects to take them out. So, one of the good things about leveling here is that before we head into the Land of Some Monsters, it'd be nice to get the Lit 3 spell. Georgie already has the other 3 level 3 elemental spells, Ice 3 and Fire 3. But Lit 3 will be really important against the boss in the Land of the Summoned Monsters. It's not necessary to have it because Lit 2 will do some good damage, as will Nell's Blitz spell. But it'll make the final battle there much easier. So let's just, like I said, keep wandering around here, trying to get the last enemy, the Tarantula lady. We're gonna find a palette swap with her in the Land of Summoned Monsters. when you run into one of them, the first thing you want to do is cast the float spell, because they will use the quake. Unfortunately, we can't just cast float outside of battle here and walk around, because it doesn't last in the overworld. It's not like it lasts like an entire floor like it does in the dungeon. So just cast a float when you run into one of those enemies, and we'll see that when I finally do run into those enemies. Just take a little while to get them here. So remember, if you like, so if you're going to try to fill in a bestiary, like in a future version where they do keep track of the monsters, like I said, you don't want to miss this area here, because like I said, there's certain monsters that can only be found here. There's also going to be certain monsters that we can only find in the land of summoned monsters too, but we'll get there eventually. So, also there's I want to show off another trick while we're hunting monsters here in the underworld. I mentioned in a previous episode there's a sneak glitch you can use to equip either Georgie or Lily with a shield. Now, we're not going to do it for Lily, because we're using the build of Lily as an archer. But if you were using Lily as a staff, with a staff, the shield glitch can also work on her. You can only ever get, unfortunately, silver shields. That's the best shield that can be stolen. But quite a few enemies in the underworld here have that as a stealable item, so too hard to find. You do have to do a little bit of a setup though to get the trick to work, and I'll describe that setup when we do get to it. But right now we're gonna finish off this tarantula lady. Not too hard, like I said, once we float. And yeah, unfortunately now float doesn't last, so. But the monsters we're gonna go fight don't have the quake, so we don't have to worry about them. Just gonna head out here right outside the land of summoned monsters and farm the remaining 2 enemies we need to find here in the underworld. And they're going to be weaker palette swaps of the gloom moths and the crawler monsters. They're going to be these rock moths and rock larvas. So, like I said, nothing special about these guys. Finish them off. Now we'll finish it off with a boomerang. And that powder just basically casts the blind spell on Lily. So I'm going to have to heal that up between battle there. So it prevents her from using the aim command. So we don't want that. We want to be able to... Although right now, like with the bows that she has, her accuracy is pretty good that, like, you don't really need to use the aim command. Most of the time, she is almost going to be pretty close to having 100% hit anyway. Alright, here's the final enemy here, the rock larvas. I was going to say the larva rocks. Dyslexic there, but no, not really dyslexic, but sometimes just reading stuff for so long. So, nothing tough about these guys. They can be annoying because if you don't defeat them with a straight physical attack, they will cast a slow spell on you. So you might just want to, you know, have weaker characters like Georgie and Lily defend, and just have Nell and Rupes attack, because they can take these guys out in one hit. We'll finish this one off. Oh, we had Lily use one of her arrows. And with that, we've cleared out the bestiary here of monsters on the underworld. We're going to head back and get healed up at the dwarf hut. And I'm going to set up for the steel glitch. So the steel glitch, basically what you have to do is, we basically will need to have Georgie go immediately after Nell goes, after Nell steals something. Because George is the one we want to put the shield. Now, if Lily was alive and we were using the staff build for her, we'd want her to go right after Nell. So we'd have to set this trick up twice with just Nell and Lily alive. But there was such a disparity between Nell and Georgie's agility. The Rupes and Lily would always go between Nell and Georgie's turn, so I had to basically knock them out to get this thing to work. Because the way it works is basically, once Nell goes to steal an item, while Nell is stealing that item, you have to go into the item inventory with the other character, and you'll notice that Nell stole the silver shield. Now the silver shield is going to be highlighted white because it's not considered a shield yet. As long as we get into that inventory screen before Nell steals the shield, it won't be considered a shield, and we can pull that shield up into Georgie's inventory, and now Georgie has a shield, even though Georgie normally can't equip shields. So it just gives her a little bit extra defense and avoid, so... And we're going to hop back into our airship, the Falcon, and finally head over to the land of summoned monsters. It's going to kind of remind me of the Sylph Cave, because once again we're going to have to rely on Lily casting the float spell on each floor. But that'll be good because, like I said, we're going to run into a palette swap of those tarantula monsters, and all they do is cast the Quake spell. So basically if you run into them, it's basically free experience. I came on my way from the land of some monsters. Let's ask for help. Alright. Some red eye enemies here. Blue eye monsters. There's a few floating enemies here, so even though Quake is, I guess, good against our party if we're not floating, Quake's not really a good spell to use in here. We got red eyes that float, we have like these dragons, then we have, what you call it, these hooligan monsters. They're named Belphegors in the after years, and they're so annoying in the after years. They're so much tougher. But not too tough right now, even like I said with the reduced party. There are a few tricks though to take care of some monsters here, because there are maybe one or two tough monsters if you don't use a trick to take care of them. So we have Conjurers here, new enemy. They can call these Clapper enemies, which is one of the tough monsters. They're a dragon that uses the Blitz spell, like Nell has, which is a lightning spell, but luckily we have gear that protects the diamond equipment that protects against lightning damage. So, these Conjurers, there's multiple versions of them. Some summon huge nagas, some summon these rock moths, some summon imps. The rarest one is the one that summons the Clapper dragon, and then other ones summon these arachne monsters. Now you can technically farm a lot of experience from the arachnes, because if you're floating, the arachnes will never hurt you. So you can just stand there, beat them up. Then when they're defeated, get the get the experience, and the Conjurer will summon a new one. So Charm and Mute arrows are going to be pretty good if you have either of those two arrows. They're both pretty good in this area, because a lot of these monsters here are magical, so they'll take extra damage from the mute arrows. Speaking of mute, we want to make sure that we mute those fiends in the back. The fiends, if they're attacked by a physical attack and not defeated, they will cast the charm spell, and you know what charm does. It basically pulls one of your characters out to the front row, and they basically just choose a target at random, and that can include your own party members. In order to get them to stop the charm, they have to be hit either by themselves, an enemy, or somebody else. So you don't really, it's kind of a deadly spell, but you can mitigate it, like I said, by casting the new spell on the fiends. Warriors can also be a little bit tough. I'll show their stats later on, because they guard an important item later. A really good sword for Rupes. But they can be taken, dealt with easily by casting the Toad spell on them. They're susceptible to being turned into toads. fiends. Like I said, once you mute them, they're pretty easy to take care of. I like this dungeon. You can see like the floor below. And once we get down a few more floors, we're able to see actually the town of monsters below. So it's pretty neat. So it's a relatively short cave, which is pretty good. So once again, cast the float spell on everybody. And there's the short floor here. There's treasure in the upper left and lower right. Another conjurer. Kept this battle in because this conjurer is going to call a new monster, the Arachne monster. I've talked a lot about this monster. It's basically just a pushover as long as you're floating. One monster in the monster town basically describes Titan like that. He's like, Titan's a block, and if you can cast the magical float, yeah, because Titan can't hurt you. Titan will be a boss in the after years and has other spells other than Quake, so he can actually hurt you in that game. But monsters that have Quake in this game that only use Quake, well, they're going to be easy once you can float. So yeah, too bad you couldn't fight one of these guys at the beginning of the game. If we were able to float, get a lot of experience, a lot of levels. But just grab the treasure here. All the good treasure is on the next floor, but like I said, I'm 100% in the game, so I'm going to grab all the treasures. So, like I said, that good sword that we get. Nell's also going to get a new sword there, but like I said, we're not having her equipped with swords in the build. We're using the boomerang claw build for now. At the very end of the game, she will become a dual sword wielder. The final two swords are really, really good. And this is the floor where we can finally kind of see the little bit of the town beneath. So, walk around. There's a lot of hidden passages in this area too. I've noticed that it seems like when there's when you walk into a hidden passage area here, the encounter rate seems to go much lower. So there's a strong ninja sword. It's the third strongest ninja sword for Nell. But like I said, we're gonna keep with the boomerang and the claw. This is probably the best floor to farm for those clapper dragons. They can be summoned by any of the conjurers on any floor, but they're more common on this floor. And you can also run into the clappers as a random encounter on this floor. So those hooligan monsters that are so scary in the after years. I forget what makes them so scary. It's been so long since I played that game, but I know I just have flashbacks to them. So nothing special about them. If you have the white arrows, you can use them, but I'm just like I said, trying to use up the arrows that I got. I'll eventually have. I'm just basically seeing the white arrows and the lit arrows for a future dungeon. I went up here and get the final treasure. This is the one that I talked about. It has a really good sword for Rupes, and it has 5 warriors. So we're going to just once I take out one, then I'm going to turn the rest into toads, and that'll make this battle just pretty easy. When they get down to low hit points, they start using an absorb spell, kind of like the vampire spell that the annoying bats use. So one of the advantages of turning them into toads is we don't have to see that annoying animation of them, basically sucking, our character's blood away. So, a whole bunch of Medusa arrows, they were all drops from, well, I think pretty much, except for like one, we found the chest, they were all dropped from enemies, so. Quite a few enemies drop Medusa arrows. I think they have, I have to look at my notes, but I'm pretty sure they have really low attack power, but they have a good chance of turning an enemy directly into stone. And unlike the enemy stone, like the petrification the enemies use, they have the fast petrification, which takes 3 turns to turn you into stone, and then the slow petrification, which takes you 5 turns to turn into stone. The stone, if we use it on an enemy, it's instant. So if the stone effect of the Medusa arrows takes place, instantly enemies turn into stone and KO'd. KO this last warrior here. We're going to get the defense sword. The defense sword increases your character's vitality. And that increases, vitality is a stat that goes into your physical defense as well. So we're going to notice that Rupes is going to get a nice defensive increase here. Yep, 8 more points of defense and 5 more points of offense. The only thing that's bad about the defense sword is it doesn't have any properties to it. So it's not wholly like the light sword. But we're going to end here and look for that clapper monster in the next episode. Take care, have a good one. Bye.